plan, continuing from my last visit in Naperville, is to continue with Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So if Krishna permits, because who knows what's going to happen, but if Krishna permits, that's the plan. And chapter 6 of Canto 10 is Krishna's killing who? Putana, chapter 6. So the age of Krishna, at this particular juncture, he's 3 months old. So picture a little child that's 3 months old, and that's how old Krishna is. And there's 2 parts to chapter 7. And Sakatasura, then Trinavarta, they're both in chapter 7. But because there's lots of nice detail in the story of Sakatasura, so that's going to take 2 parts. Bhanjana, Shakata, Bhanjana Leela, Krishna broke the cart. Shakata is the cart. Bhanjana is he broke the cart. And we'll be making some references to many of our acharyas that have made comment on this pastime. And one of them is Hariprasad Prabhu's favorite, Harisuri. Harisuri is not in our Gaudiya line, but he's a lover of Krishna and a very wonderful poetic type of person, a kavi, and his writing has been translated from Sanskrit into English and Hindi by Hariprasad. So we're going to hear what he has to say about this pastime. And you'll see there's many references that we'll be making. What you see on the screen here, this is from Krishna Ashta Tarasata Nam. Krishna's 1,000 names. Bhanjana means breaking. Om Shakatasura Bhanjanaya Namaha. And the other half, or part of chapter 7 is Trinavarta. Trinavartaya Namaha. Trin means straw. Straw. Om Trin Krita Trinavartaya Namaha. As insignificant, this says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Trinadapi Sunichena Tor Evasihishnana. So here's a very nice prayer or stava from Sanatana Goswami about Shakatasura. Oh Lord Krishna, when you killed that demon who had assumed the form of a cart, all the people of Vraja were not able to understand what had happened or how. For your protection, the Brahmanas performed a ritualistic ceremony to attain good fortune. Vedic hymns were chanted to purify you. Who purifies the Vedic hymns? And you were bathed with water. So there's Sanatana Goswami, and here we have Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is kind of a nice broad picture. The 7th chapter shows the Aishvarya, or display of power aspect of Krishna's childhood pastimes. the cart and Trinavarta. See, Krishna displays some Aishwarya, and nobody understands what it is, because they don't have any understanding that he's the all-powerful Bhagavan. They think he's 3-month-old little baby. After bathing and sleeping, he broke the cart. He killed Trinavarta and showed his mother the universe. By chewing Putana's breast, he showed the power of his lips. In the cart pastime, he showed the power of his feet. In killing Trinavarta, he showed the power of his hands. In revealing the universe twice, which means both in chapter 7, and stay tuned, he's going to do the same thing again, chapter 8, he showed all his powers, not all his powers, his powers. Though hearing any topic of the Lord, this is very nice, and it's true. Hearing any topic or topics of the Lord gradually rids one of the indifference to hearing about the Lord and makes it possible to attain prema. Hearing the pastimes of Krishna's childhood quickly brings about this prema. There's power, there's mercy, there's Madhurya invested in his Madhurya Lila, his childhood pastimes. And now we're going to hear something from Jiva Goswami. Hearing about Krishna vanquishes both disinclination to hear about him and one's material desires. The heart becomes purified. When the heart becomes pure because of destruction of impure impressions, the heart becomes capable of comprehending rasa. This purification happens quickly by hearing all the pastimes of Krishna, more slowly in the case of hearing the pastimes of the avatars. The childhood pastimes are astonishing because they have sweetness of form, qualities, and pastimes sometimes mixed with inconceivable powers. Krishna has made these pastimes visible to give mercy to us as humans. Now, our acharyas they love Krishna, and love Krishna means you love Srimad Bhagavatam, and they love Srimad Bhagavatam. So they've written, different acharyas have written multiple commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam, and one of those multiple commentaries is this one. The way that the context of this narration is Krishna's childhood pastimes for starters. And there's two brothers, Snigdhakanta and Madhukanta, and one is the inquirer, and the other is the one answering, Snigdhakanta and Madhukanta. It's not like the one that asked the question doesn't know, but he's asking so that his brother can speak. And he asks good questions. So I want to just intermittently, because it's very sweet, the style, generally speaking, Jiva Goswami, his style is super precise. He puts a pin and sharpens the pin and touches the pin to a topic, and then gives scriptural references and scriptural references and scriptural references, and then he places another pin, and his style is very comprehensive and compelling. And in Gopal Champu, he wrote a book on how to write a champu, and then he wrote a champu. What kind of scholar he is. So Gopal Champu is about Gopal, and the childhood pastimes of Krishna Gopal. So here's how it begins. It's too sweet to do anything other than just read it, so I'm going to just read it. Day by day, so this is after the Purusa and the demon pastime, Krishna revealed his beauty and gave great joy to his devotees. 7 or 8 people, alone or in pairs, in groups or many groups, infants, youths, elders, middle-aged persons, entered the house, Yashoda's house, to see the child. Playing with him, they made the child laugh. And they laughed. Relatives from the mother's and father's side came in excitement to see the child with lotus navel, whose eyes were dark as lamp black. Daily their eyes were filled with delight and lifting up the attractive cover and touching him while smiling. He had disheveled locks of hair and eyes fickle like the Kanjana bird. Bird that just flies, comes in for landing, flies. Restless kind of Kanjana bird. He had a smile playing on his face with shining tilak of Rochana and Kumkum. The dark complexioned child appeared splendid when 3 months old. The child looked about affectionately, smiling gently. He would move his legs and make small sounds and desired to be held. If he was not held, he would cry, and if held, he would laugh. Drinking milk, he would sleep, and then awaken joyfully. After 3 months, according to the constellations, when the moon was in the Rohini constellation, you hear something more about the Rohini constellation. It's the same. The moon moving in the constellation of Rohini was the same period 3 months earlier when Krishna was born. Yashoda held the bathing festival for the child. Now I'm going to stop the reading. There's a detail. I mean, Vedic life is, as you've noticed, it's festival after festival after festival. And as soon as that one's over, there's another 3 waiting. And that is Vedic life. And the center of all festivals is Krishna. Now, not everyone has Krishna's association, so they have festivals anyways. But there's a festival that occurs when a child who's normally lying on his back around this period of time, around 3 months, traditionally, the child starts to arch his back with the plan, the developmental stage that he's going to start crawling instead of lying on his back. We have a festival. Very cool. Good reason to have a festival. Shukadeva Goswami said, when Mother Yashoda's baby was slanting his body to attempt to rise and turn around, this attempt was observed by a Vedic ceremony. So she's watching her son, and sure enough, he's going to do this. So, Ananda Vrindavan Champu, at the age of 3 months, Krishna rolled over and crawled to commemorate this event, festival. In a festival, according to the standard practice, the child is given a special bath. Of course, this is showing Krishna Janmashtami. Look at all that hair on his head on Janmashtami. But in any case, this is another festival. It also happened that the moon was in the Rohini, and thus 3 months from his birth, according to lunar calculations, since his birth also occurred with the moon in Rohini. So like it made it auspicious on top of auspicious. Just after Krishna turned 3 months, Mother Yashoda celebrated the ceremony with other women of the neighborhood. And this is how they bathe the child. I've never seen anyone being bathed this way, but Krishna's always being shown. She holds Krishna with her feet, and Krishna is looking at her, she's looking at Krishna, and he's over a basin of water, and then another lady comes and pours water. Sometimes it's shown that on her hand washes the baby with her hand with the water. Some just dumps it on his head and washes with her hand. So bathing ceremony. With other things. Look at, there's Balaram watching the whole thing. In such a ceremony called Uttana, which is performed when a child is due to leave the house for the first time, the child is properly bathed. So what does leave the house for the first time mean? In case you wanted to know. Kavi Karnapur explains, it means crawling on his hands and knees. So when you can crawl on your hands and knees, you can leave the house. Yes, Bhagavatam. Same verse, Jiva Goswami's, but this, a nice appreciation. Jiva Goswami was such a scholar and loved the Bhagavatam so much, and Sanatana Goswami loved his his nephew. Jiva was his brother's son. He was such a scholar. Sanatana, had written a commentary on just the 10th canto, among other things. And he gave the manuscript to Jiva Goswami and asked him, could you please proofread it and see if there's some mistakes or some edits that you recommend? Such a scholar. Sanatana Goswami doesn't need an editor, but, he gave some service to Jiva. So Jiva did some editing. He doesn't say what he did and didn't do. And then he made a commentary on his commentary. So this is his commentary on the. Sometimes the word Vaishnava Toshani Tika. Could you not play with your phone during class? Thanks. So Jiva Goswami writes, some say this refers to going outside, but the ceremony, this festival they're having, occurs during the 4 months according to the scriptures, and is calculated according to the solar calendar. It's not so critical, but there's some involvement. Further, Yashoda and the other gopis, after bathing Krishna, smeared oil on Krishna's body. Krishna Kumara looked extremely beautiful after his auspicious bath and the application of kajal to his lotus eyes. He was anointed with tilak. That's a little different ingredients for his tilak. And gorochana, and was dressed along with the bathing ceremony. And swasti vachana, just in case somebody doesn't know what swasti vachana is, I wrote a little explanation. Swasti means what? Creating auspiciousness, correct, very good. Creating auspicious vachana, so it's Vedic hymns that are meant explicitly, or generally speaking, for creating auspiciousness. Kind of like what we may do, I like to, is the Brahma Samhita prayers. They mean something. And even if one doesn't understand the meaning, at least the atmosphere is pervaded with auspiciousness from Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That much everybody understands. So the Brahmanas were engaged, doing swasti vachana and other activities. And mridangas played. Look at this, they had mridangas. Melodiously, while Yashoda bathed her son and honored the guests. Now, she's a very cultured lady. She's engaging brahmanas, she has many guests, it's a big festival. And when you have many guests and you're a cultured person, you take care of your guests very nicely. As the brahmanas joined by chanting Vedic hymns, and professional musicians also took part, this great ceremony was observed by Mother Yashoda. Similarly, this says Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, which means it's Vaishnava Toshini and Vaishnava Toshini Ka. Hi, Prabhu. Got a special seat for our Prabhu here. As long as Premananda's got a seat, we're okay. Senior citizens, you know. So, Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami means it's from Vaishnava Toshini, or commentary. Yashoda was attached to this ceremony out of affection, since Krishna was her only son. But where's Nanda? He had arranged the birth ceremony, so he then deferred to Yashoda. She was not master of ceremonies, but mistress of ceremonies. And after all of this, look at this, she's going to feed all the brahmanas and all the guests. All the brahmanas and all the guests. She's a very cultured lady. She was very happy. Worship them. Respect, food grains, eatables, clothing, cows, garlands. I'm sure there were some other things too. When the brahmanas finished, and Mother Yashoda saw that the child felt sleepy, she lay down on the bed with the child until he was peacefully asleep. Now she's not lying next to the son. The son's in this nice swing. It's a Gujarati special swing. Have you seen these before? Pardon me. For fear that Krishna might wake up, Yashoda held him in her lap without moving. Then she lay down with her beloved son on a cot, under a cart, situated in a spacious courtyard. Upon understanding that Krishna was fast asleep, Yashoda got up very slowly and carefully. So this is directly a verse. Now, this is from Gopal Chambu, going back to Gopal Chambu. Gopis made the child lie in bed in the lower part of a cart as huge as a house. You'll see the numbers, really big cart. Really big cart. And what's a cart? For the people of Vraja, their valuables, they didn't have bank, and put valuables in a bank. They put it on a cart. They weren't thieves. So it was like a very important, what we do in America is another thing. We don't do the America things. It's the Vraja thing, is, their valuables and pots and everything's on that cart. And the cart is big and the cart is loaded, so it's heavy. And then there's a little cot, according to Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami's Gopal Champu, they laid a little cot underneath this really big cart, as big as a house, and placed the young boys of 5 years of age around it. So Krishna is at the center and the boys are around the center, Krishna. The bed was like a swing in the midst of 4 supporting pillars. And now back to Jiva Goswami's commentary. It should be understood that because the cart was so huge, Yashoda placed Krishna beneath it to sleep. So she could go about doing what she needed to do. And she had guests and other things to take care of. So mothers, about these kinds of things. So she didn't have a babysitter. She had the boys looking after her little boy. I'm going to read a little bit more from Gopal Champu. This is just a cut and paste from the text of Gopal Champu. The swing had coral feet and an emerald slab at the base. It was covered with red silk ribbons and a mattress of cotton. The baby was sitting on top of this gently swinging bed. So we get back to from the top, various colorful pieces of cloth hung down. Touching these with his hands, the child made sounds and laughed. After the worship was performed by the brahmanas, gifts were offered. This lasted for 1.5 praranas without cessation. How long is a prarana? 3 hours. They didn't get bored. They wanted the gifts. There was a nice exchange. Another demon sent by Kamsa to find newly born children was in the sky thinking, this child who has killed Putana is in the lower part of the huge cart. It seems no one can harm the child. Putana died, taking on a disguised form. I will not take another form, but will do activities to fulfill my goal. He then entered the cart, unseen by others. So that's coming up. Now back to these nice illustrations. There's a little 3-month-old Krishna lying. Bed studded with gems was arranged in the house. Now he wasn't in the house. He was out in the yard under a cart with little perfume pillow and fine sheets. The child shone like a sapphire, dark color. On that bed, it appeared that a blue lotus was floating on the Ganga, or Narayana was resting on the ocean of milk. So now here we go with Hari Suri. Nidra. Why was Krishna sleeping during the festivities? Nidra Devi, the goddess of sleep, saw that all the cowherd women have come together to participate in the auspicious festival, celebrating Krishna's first attempt to turn around. She thought, Nidra, sleep personified, I am also a woman, so why should I be deprived of this pleasure? As if thinking thus, she came and appeared on Krishna's eyes. Because of which Krishna went to sleep. He's a poet. He has a poetic license. He's got a card-carrying poet. So he has a license to do what poets have a license to do. The liberal mother Yashoda, absorbed in celebrating the Uttana ceremony, was busy, that she could not hear the child crying for his mother, which is pretty astonishing. because she's Mother Yashoda. And when I have an observation, well, look at all the people here. An observation is there can be a room full of people. And amongst the room full of people, some of them are men, some of them are women. And amongst the room full of people, some men and some women, over there somewhere there's some children. And one child makes a loud sound. You don't have to imitate the loud sound. And one mother stands up because she knows that's my son. And she runs quickly to take care of her son. It's just part of motherhood. Sannyasis notice these things. Sannyasis respond a little differently than mothers respond. Even Prabhupada, he was very tolerant, but he also insisted. So, she didn't hear the child cry. Why did Krishna cry after waking up? Nidra Devi, the same one who came as a guest for the festival, was now returning after deriving pleasure. Knowing this, Krishna, pretending to cry, and gave her vasu. Now, this is the poet in him. Vasu has different meanings: wealth and water. Water in the form of tears, as a mark of hospitality. Thank you so much, Vidya Devi, for allowing me to sleep. And this is Bhakti Rasayana. It is common practice to give gifts to guests when they leave, of course when they come, but especially when they leave. Therefore, Krishna gave her vasu, either wealth or water from his tears, when she was leaving as a mark of hospitality. So Krishna doesn't look like he's crying, he looks pretty happy here. Demanding to drink the milk of his mother's breast, angrily he threw his legs upwards. Krishna is thinking, according to Kavi Karnapur, since you cannot hear my crying, maybe the sound of the cart breaking will catch your attention. And Harisuri's comment, why did Krishna desire breast milk from Mother Yashoda? If my festival, because the festival is Krishna festival, he's turning around, getting ready to crawl. If my festival is celebrated without feeding me, then that festival will never give me satisfaction. As if to teach this concept, Lord Krishna, who shows the path of welfare for everyone, expressed a desire to drink milk. Now comes the demon. See the cloud in the sky? That's the demon. And this is a particular, Sakatasura was a particular kind of demon. We'll find out later, towards the very end. But he didn't have form. What's a living entity that doesn't have form? It sounds like a ghost, something like that. He didn't have a physical form, but he could move about at will. So he's a living entity without a physical form. There's different descriptions. He entered into the cart, or he accepted the form of the cart. Kind of means the same thing. But he hid himself in the cart. When the plan was, while in the cart and Krishna is underneath the cart, I'll finish him. It kind of worked the other way. Another demon was sent by Kamsa to find newly born children in the sky. Not that the children were in the sky, but he was traveling in the sky. This child who has killed Putana is in the lower part of a huge cart. We read this already. This is Putana died taking a disguise form, so this is directly from Gopal Champu. He then entered the cart unseen by others. Putana was sent by Kamsa. She was one of his secret weapons. And even more secret than Putana was Shakata, because he couldn't see him. Or he couldn't be seen. He was able to move about unseen. But Krishna knew, because he didn't have to see as we see. Having no gross material body other than air, the ghost-like Sakatasura had taken shelter of the handcart and was looking for the opportunity to do mischief to Krishna. So there he is again, little baby Krishna, 3 months old. At this time, Krishna decided to kill Sakatasura, a demon who was hiding in the cart under which he lay, under Vrindavan Champu. This handcart was actually another form of the Sakatasura, a demon who had come there to kill the child. So the cart was already there, but he entered the cart, and so he became, the cart personified or something like that. And as he entered into the cart, something happened, very mysterious. The wheels, plural, sank into the earth, and the axle became tilted. Now it's already, this cart is loaded with heavy stuff. And here's this bodiless, light like the air, Sakatasura, and how does it become heavier than what it was before? The Brahmanda Purana states that because a heavy demon entered the cart, the wheels sank to the earth, and the cart's height decreased. Thus Krishna's short baby legs could touch the cart. Remember, 3-month-old. But you really hear the dimensions of this cart. It's humongous. I already said it's like a tree or like a house, and it's even bigger. Lord Krishna was lying down underneath the handcart in one corner of the courtyard, and although his little legs were soft as leaves, when he struck the cart with his legs, it turned over violently and collapsed. So there we see, there's Krishna underneath the cart, and there's the cart, and there's the demon hiding in the cart. You see that guy with his hand stuck up? And then the wheel fell off the cart. And so remember, they also had posted boys around the cart to keep your eye on Krishna, make sure he's okay. Doing this, the cart without wings flew into the air like a demon bird out of eagerness, and then crashing fell to earth. So there's Balaram pointing. There's the ladies, of course there's none behind Yashoda, and the other boys saying, Krishna did it. Oh, come on, Krishna did it. He's 3-month-old, look how big that cart is. Here's a close-up of the demon. When Krishna kicked the cart with his small and very delicate legs, Sakatasura was immediately pushed down to the earth and his shelter dismantled. So the disembodied Sakatasura somehow developed a body, and the body got crushed by the cart, and Krishna was fine. Krishna didn't get crushed. The wheels separated from the axle, the hubs and spokes fell apart, and the pole of the handcart broke. On the cart, there were many little utensils made of various metals, and all of them scattered hither and thither. There's the demon, and there's the item scattering hither and thither, and there's little Krishna underneath the cart, and no problem for Krishna. Although the cart stood considerably higher than the child under Vrindavan Champu, Krishna easily kicked the wheel of the cart with his feet. The brass pots on the cart made a tremendously loud sound as they tumbled over to the ground. We'll hear how big it is. Although the hand cart was higher than the child could easily touch the wheel of the cart, and this was sufficient to send the demon down to the earth. The Lord simultaneously pushed the demon to the earth and superficially broke the hand cart. So there's a painting. The cart looks pretty tiny, but it's big. You'll see how big it is. And the demon's getting crushed by the cart, and Krishna's being picked up by the gopis. And the cowherd boys, they want to know, how did it happen? They say, Krishna did. They say, no. Opening its joyful eyes, Krishna simultaneously destroyed the cart and killed the demon, etc. On the plea of crying when he was unable to suck his mother's breast, Krishna took this opportunity to kill the demon. He kicked Sakatasura just to expose him. So let's hear the height of the cart. According to Jiva Goswami, the cart was as tall as a tall tree, which is 60 hastas high. How much is a hasta? According to Garga Samhita, 1 hasta is the difference between your elbow and the middle finger, the tip of the middle finger. So almost 18 inches or 1.5 feet. So multiply 1.5 feet times 60. You get 90 feet. It's a big cart. Krishna's 3 months old and he kicked it. And it flew up in the air like a bird. Krishna's pretty powerful. And his legs can extend too. Like, Vamana can do it, so Krishna can do it. In Vishnu Dharma, so you can see this is well referenced. Vishnu Dharma says, Arjuna is speaking about this pastime. Krishna broke the cart with the tip of his foot, even though the cart was as tall as a palm tree, and very heavy, long and wide. Who said you could do this? Without any effort, back to Ananda Vrindavan Champu. Krishna vanquished that demon with his tender feet. Remember the introduction? Jiva Goswami's writing, he showed his opulences, in this case, his foot opulence. And his lips opulence and his foot opulence. And he's Bhagavan, even in a little infant. His feet were unlimitedly beautiful and softer than petals of a lotus flower. Back to Ananda Vrindavan Champu. These were not the thunderbolt nails he used to kill Hiranyakashipu. They were not the legs he extended through the universe in his Vamana incarnation. In other incarnations, the Lord had to exert some energy according to the time and circumstance, but in this form, he exhibited unlimited potency. The gentle tinkling of Krishna's ankle bells increased the splendor of his delicate little legs. It's commentary just on this pastime, yet those little delicate legs had the cart flying in the air. The demon sent by Kamsa had tried to make the cart fall on Krishna's head. Instead, infant Krishna kicked the cart with the red soles of his feet. So why with his feet? Hariswari's going to jump in and tell us. Shudras, those are people that are chariot makers or people that work with wood carvers, are expert in creating and contorting chariots. Knowing this fact, Krishna used his very same feet to break the cart, which are the place of origin of Shudras. Very poetic. So there's some reference, I don't know the reference, a Rig Veda reference, that Shudras come from carts. So Krishna, using his little feet, kicked. Why Krishna raised his feet to break the cart? Mother Earth appeared from Krishna's feet, according to Rig Veda, and she is considered the daughter of Krishna's feet. He's a poet. Krishna appeared on earth to give her protection, so he is asking his feet, this earth is your daughter. He's asking his feet. This earth is your daughter, and I'm protecting her, but you should also help me. So Krishna threw his feet high to break the cart. You gotta be a poet to get this one. Again, Krishna thought this evil Shakata cuts the immutable word sham to sha per Sanskrit grammar rules, where sham means auspicious. Still, he is sitting above me. How is this possible? Thinking like this, Krishna, the bestower of auspiciousness to all, killed Sakatasura with his feet. Krishna thought, there's no benefit of showing my full strength in front of one who is about to die. So he killed Sakatasura with his feet. Just ask him, he's got a poetic license. He's taking, he's a kavi, a very learned person, and he's relishing as a learned person who is poetic can relish. And we certainly have to hand it to Hari Parshad Prabhu to decipher the poetry. Because many of us wouldn't get it. Probably some of the persons sitting in the room still don't get it. What's he talking about? I had to read it a few times. So there's Rohini constellation, we heard this already, is called Rohini Shakata, because this constellation is shaped like a card. Number one. When any planet conjuncts with Rohini constellation, then it is called Rohini Shakata, invasion. No conjunction, they join. When Saturn enters Rohini Shakata, then there's no rain for 12 years. Like when Saturn conjuncts Rohini Shakata, or the Rohini constellation, and stops rain for 12 years. Similarly, in Gokula, there is a Rohini Shakata, or a cart situated in Rohini's house, which was penetrated by slow-paced Krishna's feet, or Saturn. I don't get it either. If somebody gets it, you can enlighten us. This resulted in the stopping of tears of the saints who were tormented by the wicked persons. Now, I don't know, there's something, they have to be an astrologer, I guess, to know what's Krishna's feet, parentheses, Saturn. Somebody understand that one?
It's a slow moving planet. It's the slowest moving planet, so it's not slowly moving.
That's a connection. So the slow-moving feet makes a slow-moving Saturn. Anyway, we don't have to figure it out. He without figuring it out, he is a poet, and he wants to appreciate Krishna's pastimes, and appreciating Krishna's pastimes in such a way that this can correctly, by Sanskrit rule or other rules of astrology and so forth, one can understand the pastime. And Krishna is fulfilling multiple purposes with his kicking the cart. Now, this is our last slide for this evening, sorry to say. But my experience is, maybe it's not going to happen here, but my experience is short classes are better because there's always lots of questions. And long classes make it people frustrated to want to ask questions. Before coming here, I was in Portland. And I just purposely made the classes shorter and shorter because the discussions got longer and longer. So that's what we're doing this evening. There's end, part 1. And tomorrow, not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow?
Yes, in the morning.
In the morning.
11:30.
Oh. Okay, tomorrow. Merry Christmas. I'm doing too many things, I can't remember everything. I can remember lots of things, but to speak of everything. So tomorrow we'll do part 2, but this is the end of part 1. So I'll just say a few things to kind of like highlights of what our acharyas have shared. And let's see if there's some discussion. And I can't help it, the Madhurya Kandambini topic is still like it's in my blood, so I have to, it's going to come out. Madhurya comes from madhu. There's some etymology here. And madhu means honey. And some persons who have looked at this word Madhurya in the Madhurya Kandambini, it's when you try to pour honey, what happens? It doesn't pour. Slowly, it's very thick, and once it starts, it's hard to stop it. So the pastimes of Krishna's childhood, Krishna's Vraja Leela, and particularly his childhood, because his pastimes in Vrindavan are all childhood pastimes, they're very sweet. And to appreciate sweetness, somebody's phone? Okay. To appreciate sweetness, you have to be, the heart has to be pure. Say it negative. If your heart isn't pure, the sweetness is just going to go whoosh. You'll be looking at the pastime as if it's not spiritual. And why this, and why not that, and those kind of things. And you'd miss the essence altogether. But those who are elevated acharyas, they know the sweetness. They can taste the sweetness, and they share the taste of the sweetness, and they share in different ways because they're tasting it, and they want us to taste it. Krishna wants us to taste it. So the important thing is not all the detail. The details are nice, but there are different explanations of the details that our acharyas explain with sweetness and more sweetness and more sweetness, and slowly. It's very similar to this nice description that Rupa Goswami gives about the jaundiced condition in rock candy. Without going into the detail, I've had a direct experience. When you have jaundice, rock candy tastes bitter. Not a little bitter, bitter. When you spit it out, it's really bitter. But it's, it's sweet. but it tastes bitter. We read this nice description, that people in the material condition of life, they're not, their idea of spiritual topics, it's not spiritual topics. I was standing at the baggage claim today, and as I mentioned, half an hour, I got so restless, I went to the baggage claim people, their little office in the back, and here's my receipt. Did my bags come? Oh yeah, they both came. I've been waiting for half an hour. Wait some more. The bag came. And they came. We made it here, so we are both. But while I was standing there waiting, one little lady came up, are you a Buddhist monk? I said, no, I'm a Christian monk. She said, I'm a Buddhist monk. I'm a Christian priest, Catholic priest, and a Buddhist monk. And she was a very social lady. And she said something, anyway, all of what she said was just gobbledygook. It was like all over the place. She didn't know what she was saying. I don't know, maybe she was drunk or something. And then, she did her thing and then went to another, she said some words, some Buddhist words, and I said, Hare Krishna, and she said, Hare Krishna, and said the Buddhist words. So then she just flew away. Went to another person and did her thing, because, she's a very social lady. So these persons that what's a spiritual topic, it's not a spiritual topic. It's la-di-da topic, and who knows? I don't know if she knows what she was saying. There isn't a taste for the sweetness. And those that have a taste for the sweetness, their appreciation isn't really what the sweetness is. It's something. That's okay. There's something can draw them into that something, and then they can get the sweetness, perhaps. It's the medicine. You take the medicine. The medicine is just this, what we're doing. So that's what we'll be doing together, just hearing Krishna's childhood pastimes, Krishna's Vraja Leela. And there's a lot of childhood pastimes, and they're very sweet. They don't become stale. They're always sweet. And hear it again, and hear it again, and hear it again, and hear it again. And it's more sweet, and sweeter still. Madhuram Madhurabhyopi. It's so. As we go forward in the course of the time spent, including part 2 tomorrow, Christmas Day, hearing Sakatasura part 2, the details are nice, and the commentary of our acharyas are nicer than nice, and the sweetness is the nicest. It's just, so try to, along with, getting the configuration of how did Krishna orchestrate his pastimes? I mean, that's a whole other topic. That's a Jiva Goswami type topic. Which Shaktis did Krishna employ to do this? Which subpotencies of those Shaktis were employed to do in the way that it was done? He gets, with the magnifying glass, and it gets more and more refined. Then he steps back, and then it's the sweetness. But the sweetness has its parts. Some of you are good cooks. Some of you may not be such good cooks, but there's probably some good cooks. And the good cooks, they're very tuned into detail. Not everybody can appreciate the detail, but good cooks know the difference. Here's a little Prabhupada story I'm going to end. This is something Jamuna told me. Mother Jamuna. She was asked by Prabhupada, can you find some short grain rice that's very thin? Because Prabhupada, he wasn't interested in his own senses. He was interested in engaging Jamuna according to her propensities. he knew how to do things like that. So she went and found a very, 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 there was 3 berries, special rice, and cooked the rice, put a little ghee, and brought it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada took 1 grain, dropped the 1 grain on the tip of his tongue, tasted it, and told her what type of rice it was. Very refined. He wasn't showing off. It's a loving exchange between Prabhupada and Jamuna, who understood. I mean, she appreciated his elegance and exquisiteness and culture and refined senses. So those that have such capacity, when they give descriptions, of course, depending upon the audience and circumstance and so on, their narrations are filled with that sweetness. And there's a lot of misunderstanding, unfortunately. This means that, and so many other things go on. So we can have all confidence in our acharyas, and circling back to something that both Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami said, these childhood pastimes have a special potency. 2 things. The taste for that which is sweet, and normally there isn't an attraction for of course, eating sweet things is attractive to most people, but hearing about the personality of Godhead isn't so attractive to many people. But the sweetness clears away the disease and awakens up to the stage of prema more quickly than anything else. So stay tuned. Keep your prema receiver on, and the sweetness of the message be tuned into hearing. And slowly, the nature of the sweetness of Krishna's all-attractive childhood pastimes that our acharyas love so much will become. Wait till you see what happens to your dreams when you wake up in the morning and what you're thinking about. And instead of thinking about other things, you'll be thinking about Krishna's wonderful, intriguing, charming, sweet pastimes. Wait and see. Sweet dreams. And nice japa tomorrow morning. We'll see you again sometime tomorrow. 11:30, part 2. Any discussion? I see 1 hand in the back. Pass the microphone back. Go ahead. You got the microphone. Use it. Show it to a teenager. They'll show you how to turn it on.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. So in one of the slide you were referring Nidra Devi. So I didn't know that Nidra Devi, she's a demigod or something like that. Devi is a goddess. Because she came to Lord Krishna, that's why she's a goddess, or like...
No, but no, she is.
She, oh.
It's not because she came, she became.
Okay.
She is the goddess.
Okay. So it is applicable to Krishna only, or to the pardon part?
You too.
Okay, because...
Do you get sleepy sometimes?
Yeah, actually, Mike.
Okay.
Yes. So few years before, when I was very new to Krishna consciousness, I was not honoring Nidra Devi much. For like I was sleeping only 3 or 4 hours and was so focused. But looks like now she has become a prominent guest in my home. And then I got insomnia and I don't know what is happening.
Neither.
So maybe like I disrespected her, that's why, or I have to pray because...
Don't worry about it. You just think of Krishna.
Okay,
It takes care of everything. Everything becomes nicely adjusted.
okay.
Don't worry about you've offended Nidra Devi. You may have, you may not have. Who knows? But that's not essential. What is essential is Smartavya Satatam Vishnu Vismartavya Najatajit. That's what's essential. So give your attention there, and everything will be nice. But you can't do anything better than that. That's the best. And then other things will be in alignment with the best.
I didn't get you, Maharaj.
Did you understand?
Yes,
Okay, so work on it. It's not like snap your fingers, okay,
yes.
but that's the direction to move in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Someone else? You're supposed to ask something.
First of all, Guru Maharaj, of all the places you could choose to be during this wonderful season, thank you for choosing to be with us the next week in this warm, wonderful weather.
The people in Phoenix were wondering, what's this Swami? He's crazy.
It makes Naperville warm for us because you're present. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's not snowing yet. It'll snow.
It'll come.
Yeah, it'll come. So what's something?
It's a comment. It's some thoughts are bubbling, and I'm wondering if you would be willing to comment on my thoughts. When we hear these pastimes, there's such a abundance in terms of wealth, etiquette, culture, versus scarcity mindset, which is what we find ourselves in Kali Yuga. Everything's so expensive, even if like you want to buy a bunch of flowers, like $18 for 12 roses we bought today.
18 roses.
For $18, $1 per rose? Are they fragrant or they just look nice?
No.
Huh? No fragrance.
And yet it's not the mindset, because you often speak of how Bhishma Dev, even on his deathbed, was able to receive all the guests that came, because there was this mindset of abundance. Culture. So I'm just, the scarcity mindset that everything is scarce, especially in this kind of climate, or things seem to be not as free-flowing in terms of just generosity or resources. And those are the thoughts that are bubbling.
One devotee in Portland is a Sri Vaishnava and a lover of Krishna, and he loves ISKCON devotees and Prabhupada, etc. But he gave some little things, and one of the little things that he gave was a little flower. I don't know the name. I'm sure there's some name, but it's a little white flower. And it kind of had been squished, but it was still so fragrant. And for 24 hours, it was still fragrant. He's a little guy. And that's why I asked a question about these roses. They're beautiful, but no fragrance. But nature still is able to produce things that are very nice. But people are interested in something that looks nice. But anyway, the value systems have changed a lot. What to speak of how people interact with one another and loving exchanges. So what to do about that? Our friend back here, she knows what to do. Just Swartavya Satatam Vishnu. Hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna, remember about Krishna in the association of devotees, and refinement comes. And it works. At least if one seriously applies oneself. Okay, anyone else? Anybody on this side, that side? Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the very wonderful pastime and for giving us this wonderful opportunity to hear Krishna's pastimes. I was wondering if Sakatasura represents any anartha specific.
Yes. Come tomorrow.
Okay.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as you know, in 2 of his 100 books, he wrote reasonably extensively about each of the demons killed by Krishna represents some obstacle on the path of bhakti. We'll hear about it tomorrow. We'll see some nice pictures of Bhaktivinoda and his nice words tomorrow.
Thank you.
Maharaj, Krishna.
The load-bearing propensity. The cart.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, one observation I just want to understand. Sakatasura is formless.
Yes.
And he, after Krishna kicked, he got a form.
Yeah.
So,
How did that happen?
how fortunate he is to get a form, and unfortunate he could not involve in Krishna's pastime with the form.
Wait till tomorrow. He goes back to Godhead.
That's even amazing.
A Vimana comes and takes him back to Godhead. He's not a formless Sakatasura.
That's amazing.
he
Formless
is.
to form, and then he's going back to Godhead. Did he get the same tomorrow?
Tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer all these nice questions, but that's okay. You can ask them tomorrow.
What kind of mukti he got? That's what.
Tomorrow.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anybody back there? There, I see a hand. The children are restless. They can hear the sound vibration.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's more of an astonishment which I felt I wanted to share when you mentioned that in the Krishna's pastime, Supreme Lord Krishna has exhibited, like he went all in showing his opulence, like just with the tip of his feet he could kill a demon, whereas in the other avatars, incarnations like Varaha or Narasimha, he had to he had showed us that he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in Krishna's form he is deluding. It's confusing for devotees to see him as, not devotees, for people to see if he's Supreme Lord.
It's the sweetness feature.
Yeah, I was just
As
like,
opposed
wow.
to the Aishwarya feature. Now, one of the things that we read, and we're going to hear it again, he does show his Aishwarya, but it's done in such a way people don't see the Aishwarya. We'll hear tomorrow. Yashoda, when she sees what she sees, she's really puzzled. But how did this happen? They asked the boys. The words posted to watch, protect him. He did it. No. So they think it was, the stars or, some ill omens, and they want to purify him from the influence of inauspiciousness. And same thing they did with, 3 months earlier with Putana. Because that's what they know. They have full shelter in us creating auspiciousness, because that's their life. So that's what they did. That's what they saw. Then, little by little, some lights start going on. But, always little by little. It's going to happen. Chapter 8. This is chapter 7. Chapter 8, she looks inside Krishna's mouth. But anyway, he does the same thing in chapter 7. Stay tuned. One of the things that Krishna wants to do is reciprocate, the primary thing that Krishna wants to do is reciprocate love with his devotees. This is a Madhurya Kandambini topic. But when Krishna comes, he is rasa. Pardon me for repeating myself, but rasa vaisaha, Tartari Upanishad. It's a cornerstone for explaining why Krishna appears. He appears because he has eternal associates in aprakat form, some in prakat form, and he wants to reciprocate with them. Because rasa means two. It's not just, he is rasa, but then he exchanges with others. And especially his unalloyed devotees. So Krishna comes and does things with his unalloyed devotees. And with one of the nice things that Krishna does with his unalloyed devotees, Krishna, he incites or stimulates astonishment. What was that? Like astonishment. It's a rasa. There's material and there's a spiritual of everything. So they're on a spiritual platform 100%, so their astonishment is 100% spiritual, and it's a rasa. So he's stimulating that. And then he withdraws that emotion, that rasa, and stimulates another one, and another one, and another one, according to their primary rasa. It's Rupa Goswami's teachings. What do you think? Sounds all right? And therefore, here's just one same point. In Madhurya Kandambini, there's two Mangalacharna verses. One of them is about Lord Chaitanya, and the other one is about Rupa Goswami. And what he writes in the Mangalacharna prayer about Rupa Goswami is, before him, many acharyas came and revealed truths about the absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead. But only one has revealed the essence of rasa that's with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and has made it abundantly clear, even to a fool like me. I mean, those aren't his words, but something along that line. So Rupa Goswami is giving what the Bhagavatam gives and giving what Lord Chaitanya gave him, but it's about rasa. He gave him the science of bhakti rasa. And he explains everything with that bullseye, that right at the center. And there's many explanations, this and that and the other thing, but the essence of Krishna's appearing and doing what he does is rasa. And he does through the agent, he doesn't do anything. He does through the agency of his various potencies. He kicks his little legs. The cart explodes. So they're astonished. And the demon is killed. Business finished. Rasa. Okay, I think we're done. You have something? Okay. Pass the microphone this way. This is going to be the last question. You have the last question, Honor, for tonight.
Well, seeing the essence as rasa is very deep, and my question is, in the pastime of Sakatasura, it's clearly rasa going on with Mother Yashoda and Krishna in the residence of Vrindavan.
And the boys.
And the boys. And then it seemed like there's rasa also with Sakatasura.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to Godhead as well, as you're going to meet.
I know. He wasn't expecting that. Surprise!
all of a sudden someone who's not necessarily a devotee.
Not necessarily, you need to kill him. On the order of Kamsa.
He's showered with rasa.
What's going on?
It's beautiful.
It's Krishna.
And at what point does he realize that?
I don't know. You have to ask him. When one becomes purified, then one can realize. And so he became purified at some point in time, because you can't go back to Godhead without becoming purified. You become purified, then you can realize what's going on. So when did the bell ring? Now I'm purified. Now I understand that Krishna is reciprocating lovingly with me. Although I came to kill him, look what he's done. At some point. We'll see some images. They're very nice images.
The other comment I had, Maharaj, is I was just seeing in the Bhagavatam, there's only 17 verses with this pastime. And you're having 2 full classes, not just 17 verses.
Well, a lot of acharyas, they have a lot to say about it.
It's beautiful.
They're churning the topic. That's the phrase that's used. Churning the topic. And from churning the topic comes nectar. And realization.
But you've been putting it together for us so we can access it. It's hard.
It was a team. That wasn't just me. Believe me, it was a team. When recently, Amarendra, the Sanskritist Amarendra, he was in Seattle, and for 8 classes, he stayed with one pastime, Sakatasura. 8 classes, and he didn't repeat himself. Primarily Parisuri, but taking each Sanskrit word and taking it apart and putting the parts back together again, putting those parts together with another part, the Sanskrit of the verses, as well as the commentaries. Churning a topic. So the composition, my experience is the ocean knows no bottom. It's like Lord Brahma trying to find out where he came from and climbing down the stem. He can't. There's got to be an origin of the stem, but he couldn't find where the stem came from. Take anything. I mean, take our musicians. I mean, take cooking. Take deity worship. Take anything devotional, and just get into it and get into it and get into it. How deep can you go? There's no bottom. And some persons like one thing, some persons like multiple things, and bhakti is unlimited. That's what Mahaprabhu teaches us. Okay, we're going to end, and I see that there's some Mahaprasadam here. And there's much more than all of you can eat. So I'm going to walk around, and you can just smile, put out your right hand, and something magical is going to happen. And then there's another 3 boxes over here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bye-bye.